Hi everyone, Amy here. Welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. I have a real quick layout, one-page layout here. It came together so fast and I wanted to share it with you. I started out on a sheet of Mink cardstock. I decided to use this pocket card for a title that says Like Father, Like Son. It is from the Hey Handsome collection, and these pocket cards are actually still available, so that's great. I'll link it down below. I cut a little piece off the end of it so that it could look like it was extended behind the picture. And then I needed to fill in some more space, and I'm trying some different plaids and trying to decide which paper will go well, but I don't end up going with a plaid at all. This is a picture of my husband and my middle son, Liam, who, although my husband's trying very hard to look the tallest in this picture, Liam is actually taller than him. And this is the first time we had them back to back that Liam had actually outgrown him. So it's just kind of a fun memory. And it's always something you want to document when your kids grow taller than their 6'4" dad. I dug into my stash and I found this sheet of kind of a wood grain or textured finish white paper, and it has all little black hearts on it. I cut it so that it wasn't kind of going through the middle of a row of hearts on one side and then having a space. Like I kind of wanted it to be more centered. And then I sliced a piece off the top so that I could kind of make it look like it was going in behind there, just like I made the pocket card look like it's going behind the photo. And then it could cover more ground on the picture. And I also thought on the page, pardon me. And I also thought that the picture needed a little bit more anchoring. So I decided to put that black mat in behind it as well. The black paper was a scrap as well, so I decided to leave the longer bit on the bottom. I thought it's nice to kind of have that anchor of that bigger, wider margin of black on the bottom, and I thought I would maybe use it as a place to put embellishments. So this came together really quick. This is kind of my layout, so I decided to do a bit of treatment to the background paper just to make it a little more fun. So I inked around the edges of the white as well, and then I got out some stencils and I chose a stencil to work on the background. I almost always put some pencil marks down to help me remember where the paper is going to be laying, so I know where to do the distressing or stenciling. Otherwise it ends up behind your papers and then you did the work for nothing, although I have done that as well. I'm using Heather ink here. That's an older ink, but it's basically one shade darker than Mink. So you could just use Mink ink and layer it up on there. It does get darker as you layer it, but the blending brushes are very nice for this kind of treatment because you can just kind of keep building and building until you have a darkness that you like. Also, my goal here was to have it darkest coming out from under my other papers and then getting lighter as it goes towards the outside. As I'm doing the voiceover on this video, my puppy's on my lap and she hears some noises outside and she's doing these low little barks. So if you hear these little woofs, that's her. So you may have noticed that I pointed out to you there that I had the two spots on top of each other. So I wanted north and south. So I wanted one to be kind of between them and on the other side of the page to create a triangle. So doesn't that just add a really nice amount of interest right away? So now I want to add a little more. I'm going to use the one of the texture background texture stamp sets. I will link the one I use down below. It's not Perfectly Imperfect Patterns, it's the other one. So I decided to add a little bit of Harbor, and I had just seen Janice, and I think she got the idea from Carrie, if I'm not mistaken, inking up a stamp by using a sponge dauber or a sponger tool to get the ink from the ink pad and then loading it onto the stamp. And that way you get an even more subtle design than using second generation, because second generation gives you, as Janice says in her video, and I'll try and link that for you if I can find it back. Second generation gives you a uniform look, but this gives you a little bit more shading. So it looks good. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. The stamp that I'm using has a bunch of random dots or ink splotches they could be, but they're more concentrated towards one side and then spreading out. So it's perfect to go along the edge of a piece of paper coming from underneath because it's more concentrated and then spreading out as it goes away from the paper that's above it. So as you can see, I did sort of miss the spot where I wanted it to show and it wasn't really showing up. So I had to kind of redo that, but I got it where I wanted it. And now I'm going to show you how I'm adding or creating a few of my own embellishments with stamps. So I'm stamping the camera and the arrow a few times in black and also in Harbor. And I'm just fussy cutting those out. The best way to fussy cut is to have a really good sharp pair of scissors, and then, as others have said, turn the paper and not the scissors. That is gives you the nice clean curved lines. It looks a lot nicer. And you always want to leave a white trim unless you don't. Some people don't like that, but I find the white trim makes it a lot more forgiving. Because you don't really notice whether the white trim's a little wider here and a little narrower there. But if you're cutting right along the edge of the black or the stamped image, it's really hard to keep it perfectly along that edge. I'm doing my stamping here on the back of my Versamat that has that spongy back. It's perfect for stamping. And I found this stamp that says, "A picture is worth 1,000 words." And it is an older stamp that I found in my stash. So I used the Harbor shimmer pen to kind of paint in the letters from the word words. And I was just flapping it there to let it dry off. And then I'm just going to use the guillotine trimmer here to cut it into a rectangle or square. It's a rectangle. And I ink the edges up, and then I'm going to get ready to embellish my page. So I used a combination of my stamped images and some of the acrylic shapes. They're all from Hey Handsome. They are also still available, and I will link them below too. So almost everything from this layout is available. You'd have to come up with a different paper, I suppose, than the one with the little hearts on it, but it's definitely recreatable for sure. Sometimes I think I should work for Close to My Heart's design team, because every time I love a paper pack and it's like one of my favorites, it sells out. All my favorite paper packs are the ones that sell out. And I swear it's because I'm a boy mom. So I'm always looking for these versatile paper packs that can also be used for boys. And those are the ones that just fly. I think maybe because there is so many flowery girl friendly paper packs, so those ones are a dime a dozen, so it's easy to find them, and so people don't buy them up as fast as they can because they know they'll still be around. But whenever a masculine paper pack or a real good hiking outdoorsy paper pack comes along, snap it up because it won't last. I really wanted one of those arrows to work in that cluster under the picture, but it wasn't working for me. I don't know why. When I see myself doing it now, I think, oh, that wasn't so bad, but I didn't end up putting them there. I ended up putting just the 3 items there, like the little word phrase and the camera and the star, and then I added another little acrylic shape too. It's just like a little plus sign or an X, depending on how you orient it. And I just kind of put those in each little embellishment spot, and I was pretty happy with that. It's a bit of a simple layout, but I think with the background stamping, that really helps to make it more interesting. I also used the white pen here to kind of go around the whole black piece of paper there, and I think that really added to this layout. And then I just put January 2021 in the bottom corner. And I don't think I'm going to journal. I can see the way my husband is acting on the picture. I don't think any of us will ever forget that he was trying his best to be the tallest, and we were all laughing at him. So I could write that down, but I don't know if I really need to. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, I really hope you hit that like button. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'm celebrating. I just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm hoping I keep growing. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, so you can be notified when new videos come out. Mabel thinks you should as well. Thanks for watching, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.